Hey guys, what is up? It is No Help and welcome back to another video today. So today I woke up and saw this summer sweep up Slayer and miscellaneous changes. So let's hop right into this and see what it's all about. Alright, so we're back with more of the summer sweep up. This time we're revisiting that dedicated Slayer quality of life banner from our RuneFest roadmap and bringing you a handful of other tweaks too. Alright, I'm always a huge fan when they do some Slayer content. Alright, so Slayer changes. Once you get to grips with Slayer, you'll unlock access to great training methods, lucrative loot tables, and exclusive bosses. But if you ever introduced a friend to this iconic skill, you'll know that actually understanding it is half the battle. Yeah, when I was a young kid, I was a skiller, not a killer, and I was not a big fan of Slayer until old school Ironman, really, when I saw how beneficial the skill could be. So today's changes fix some long-standing issues with Slayer. We're giving you more flexibility when setting up your tasks and more time to actually slay things instead of ways to scam Turiel. Yeah, scheming up the ways. Yeah, a lot of people do this thing called Turiel skipping, where you do some very easy tasks to get your points up, and I guess they kind of want to change that. Okay, so we've got block list changes. So ever since Crystalia arrived, she is the Wilderness Slayer Master in Edgeville. Players have been begging for a wilderness specific block list. That makes sense because it's completely different than regular Slayer, and some creatures that you would like to kill in the wilderness may be, say, terrible otherwise, so it makes sense to do a different block list. Yeah, so who can blame them? It's laborious, time-consuming, and expensive to rejig your block list every time you want to dabble in the wilderness, Slayer, and then swap back to regular. Yeah, it would be just really frustrating. I personally have only done Wilderness Slayer a couple of times because I try and stay out of the wilderness as much as possible, but you can definitely make a lot of money there if you're a main account, and yeah, it can be a good way to start your Slayer grind until you get better masters in the future, right? So it would make sense to have two block lists. So we've been unable to deliver this in the past because it's proved too technically challenging. Why? It's two different NPCs. But now we have the technology and we want to go even bigger. Give every Slayer Master their very own block list. That is so nice, man. That is very good. Because a lot of people say may use Neve, Steve, Duradel, and Konar, and then also maybe Crystalia too, right? Like this is huge news. So you won't need to unset and reset your blocks as you progress, and you'll be able to optimize your block list to achieve different goals. A Turiel block list that gets rid of nuisance tasks while you're boosting points. A Duradel block list set up for the best XP per hour. Neve list for maximum Inferno runs. The world's your oyster. Yeah, I was literally just thinking that because you can use different Slayer Masters for different reasons, right? Block as much as possible to get Hydra with only Konar, right? Or Worms, or whatever you want. And then just do the best XP per hour, like whatever. Dust Devils, and I don't even know what the best ones is. Bloodvilds with Duradel. That's so nice. But won't this mean you're throwing points away? No, as of this update, different Slayer Masters will have different prices for blocks. Okay, so Turiel will be 40, and then it looks like it goes up and up. Konar will be 80, Neve and Steve is 90, and Duradel and Crystalia is 100 points. I couldn't think of it, but as of right now, it looks like to block a task from any of the Slayer Masters, it would be 100 points. Yeah, so it's definitely getting buffed. Okay, so when these changes go live, your current block list will be reset, and any points spent will be refunded. I was actually wondering how that was gonna work. So you'll get your points back at the end of the day, so it doesn't really matter. If you're cringing at the thought of having to set up an entire list again while waiting for the worst tasks to pop up, think again. We're also doing a Slayer Master UI refresh. I'm not sure if maybe they should like save what your block list was or something, because some people might have it set up exactly how they kind of want, but at least you're getting refunded your points, and you can spend them, I guess, with any of the Slayer Masters in however way you want to. Now there's actually going to be more of a use to switch between the Slayer Masters too, which I'm a big fan of. Okay, so let's take a look at this UI refresh. So Slayer rewards, this is sort of what it looks like now. Look at those 100,000 points. So I guess this is going to be the refresh. So look at like Slayer tasks. It'll show you the percentages. That's actually really cool. And then you can like lock them right here too, or block them. So for example, this is terrible. Who would block Iraq sites? But anyways, it looks like these ones are fully blocked. What does the locked mean? Oh, I guess it means you haven't unlocked them. That was kind of a stupid question. So going forwards, every Slayer Master will be able to show you which tasks they can currently assign, the percentage chance of them assigning each task, and the quantity of monsters you might be asked to slay on each task. Best of all, you'll be able to block all the tasks you want from the same interface without having to wait to receive the task. If you really like doing things the old-fashioned way, you can still wait and block. It's up to you. I really like this because, again, you just have to, instead of going to the wiki and searching it up, the weight and the percentage and blah blah blah, it's all right here in game now, and I really like how it looks with the whole like unlocked, blocked, these ones are available to get, the amount you could get too. Very nice. So early game point changes. So one of the issues facing new Slayers is that Slayer points can be hard to come by if you're engaging with the skill as intended. Yeah, so if you do like regular task instead of like tutorial skipping, and it takes a long time to get, say, enough points for a Rune Pouch or the Slayer helmet. So no new player wants to hear that task sucks. What you should do is 49 tutorial tasks killing rats and birds, and then a Konar task, then do it again 5 times, and then you can start playing the game. Yeah, that's RuneScape though. You gotta play 8,000 hours before you can start the game. But yeah, 49 tutorial tasks, it's just depressing. Like, nobody wants to do that at the start of the game, getting 5k XP an hour. They'd rather just do the tasks, do the actual tasks, you know what I mean? So I guess they want to change this. So we're countering this by giving the lower level people, the lower level Slayer Masters, a bit of a nudge. So Slayer points aren't exactly a precious resource. Not really, right? At the end of the day, I just use them to block and skip tasks once you've unlocked everything. And we reckon these two are being a little stingy when it comes to appropriately rewarding newer players. So currently you get 2 points per task or 4 points per task. And here's what we're suggesting. So they'll go up to 6 points and 8 points per task. I think if anyone votes no to this, that's crazy. Like, it's one of those things at the start of the game. You'll get your Slayer helmet quicker, you'll get your Rune Pouch quicker, whatever you want to buy from the shop quicker, and you can just skip those tasks you really hate. And Jagex said it best here that, like, it's not really a precious resource. It doesn't really have like a GP value, you know? So we're not expecting players to spend too long with either of these Slayer Masters. Again, that's one of the things that it really doesn't make a big difference, because what will you spend, like, from the start of your Slayer till what, 50 or not even probably at these Slayer Masters before you move on. But this change should mean they'll be able to skip or block a task from time to time without spoiling their overall progression. Yeah, because at the start you kind of just have to suck it up and deal with those tasks you really don't want to do because you're saving up for the Slayer Helm. Okay, so unlock point costs. So outside of skipping and blocking tasks, you've also got the option to extend them, unlock new tasks, add some quality of life improvements to existing tasks, or unlock new features like superior Slayer creatures. Okay, so we're making progression a bit more sensible. So they want to reduce the bigger and badder from 150 points to 50. So there are a lot of low-level Slayer monsters with superior variants. Yeah, it's crazy. I was looking up superiors like the other day, and I'm like, I didn't even realize this creature had superiors. But it's because you never have bigger and badder when you're doing those low-level tasks. So yeah, exactly right here. But by the time most players unlock this perk, they're well past these and skip them entirely. So unless they want to wind up tutorial skipping in the future, yeah. So they want to reduce the task storage from 1,000 to 500 points. This system's pretty cool. The way they say this is weird, but it only sees niche usage. I use this all the time. Say you have a Vorkath task for 200 blue dragons or whatever, right? You don't want to do that whole task at once, so you can swap back and forth to continue training Slayer but keep your boss task. So we're hoping that bumping the initial unlock cost down and then obviously refunding you the difference if you've already purchased this should make it a more appealing unlock. I would still spend the 1,000 on it. It's very, very useful, but I guess it depends from player to player. So reduce ring bling from 300 points to 150. There are so many higher priority unlocks early on that this one gets deprioritized. By the time you have enough spare points to consider it, it's barely even worth the unlock. I actually don't even know if I have it, to be completely honest. Slug Salter and Reptile Freezer reduced to 10 points. I don't even know how much this costs, but yeah, these costs far too many points for where they're actually relevant, especially considering how minor their impact really is. So yeah, very nice quality of life. We're initially considering task unlocks like Lizardmen and Anvinces free to toggle, but we're still on the fence. Mostly we're concerned about encouraging unfun gameplay loops where players are sat around toggling things in the UI to try and game the chance for a better task. Yeah, the RuneScape community, some people are actually insane and will do whatever it takes to get that slight advantage, right? We could circumvent this problem with a reduced cost to toggle something on or off after the initial unlock, but we want to hear your thoughts before we move forward. It's weird because, like, for me personally, there's something like, if you think about like a toggle, I wouldn't even think of like, you know, trying to make it more efficient or a 1% better chance at this or that. It would just be something, oh, you can turn this on or off if you want, but they really got to think of everything. So dragon tasks. As part of Project Rebalance last year, we removed dragons from the task lists of some early game Slayer Masters, which was well received. Obviously, you don't want to kill dragons if you're like 40 combat, right? The problem is that even later in the game, there are so many types of dragon tasks that they will crop up more often than some of you would like. So while we think blue dragon tasks have their place, either for Iron Spanking Prayer XP or for players wanting to fight Vorkath, and black dragon tasks are a quick couple of points at the baby black dragons in Taverley, metal dragons are a different beast entirely. I never killed metal dragons on my Ironman account. I don't think once, unless it was for an achievement diary or something. Just not worth it, right? So we'd like to combine Brawn, Iron, Steel, Mithril, Adamant, and Rune Dragons into a single Metal Dragons task. We also like the default quantity to 20 to 40. and let you extend Metal Dragon tasks up to 150 to 200. So this means, in theory, you could slay 200 Rune Dragons at a time if you like. This is so good, man, because, you know, Iron Dragons, nobody wants to kill those. You Rune Dragons or Adamant Dragons only, right? Maybe lower levels will go, say, kill like Mithril Dragons or whatever, but really like the whole Metal Dragons. That's great. And yeah, if you could say kill 200 Rune Dragons at a time, you're making a hell of a lot of money. So the weightings of existing tasks would be combined into Metal Dragon tasks, but a little lower than the sum of their parts, meaning you'd see better tasks more often. Good. So ultimately, this means that rather than having multiple feels bad skip tasks, yeah, because Iron Dragon skip, Mythril Dragon skip, you know, it's just one of those things where you're just wasting points. You wind up with just the one, or you can block them out entirely. That's another thing, right? So basically, Metal Dragons, if you block them, you're blocking Bronze, Iron, Steel, Mithril, Adamant, and Rune in the same thing. So it's worth noting that some of the defense changes outlined in the first Summer Sweep Up blog, they'll likely be a little more appealing than they currently are. So maybe give a task or two a go before blocking them forever. There's no point in blocking them because, like, you could just do Rune Dragons, right? If you've paid for something like I hope you myth me, then you'll be able to refund, we'll be able to refund you the points, and all of your blocks are getting reset anyway, so you can tweak those to your liking. Okay, so herbs. So this last change addresses a common point of frustration with loot from mid-game tasks. So you've saved your points, grabbed the exclusive herb sack, set out on another task, and oops, suddenly your inventory is full of noted herbs. So the space saving quality of life unlock you worked hard for isn't saving you much space at all. So can you put noted? That'd be really cool. We'd like to make low quantities of noted herb drops unnoted so that they can easily be stacked in your trusty sack. So here's a full list of creatures whose noted herbs we'd like to convert to unnoted herb drops. Keep in mind that they will only drop 1 to 3 at a time, so your herb sack should prove pretty useful here. So all the shitty tasks, really. It's cool, but at the end of the day, for people who don't have the herb sack, this is kind of just like a nerf. I don't know, it would make more sense to me because you can only store X amount of herbs in the sack at a time, so why can't you put noted herbs in the sack, Jagex? Okay, so other changes, so Golem Bane and Gargoyles. So this one is perhaps Slayer adjacent, so it makes sense to start here. So if you're wondering what on earth Golem Bane is, take a look at the Baronite Mace, which boasts a damage bonus against golems. Outside of free-to-play, it's not all that useful. So we're looking to give those same qualities to the Granite Hammer, a 30% increase to damage against stony enemies. Naturally, you might be thinking, okay, cool, but where am I ever gonna kill golems? And you're totally right, which is why we're adding some more enemies into this pool, with the goal of giving the Granite Hammer a use beyond training strength on a 50 attack pure. So this means we'd be giving the Granite Hammer a 30% damage increase against any gargoyle. So by giving them the Golem tag, including Dusk, Dawn, and Superiors, this should make it a super appealing option and less of a feels bad drop from the Grotesque Guardians. So this might even become your best option. I was just wondering, because gargoyles just AFKing gargoyles is like 1,000,000 GP an hour, if this would might be really good here. So Mage Training Arena Rune Pouch. Had enough of Mage Training Arena? We didn't think so, especially with all the quality of life improvements it received in 2024's Poll 81. If you're dreading the thought of last man standing, or if you don't want to spend hours of slaying without a rune pouch, then boy, we have got a update, I guess, for you. Here we go. So for the low cost of 150 tech points, 150 graveyard points, 1500 enchantment points, 200 alchemy points, you could be the proud owner of a brand new Rune Pouch. It's the same as the existing Rune Pouch, but this should be a nice middle ground in terms of time to obtain between LMS and Slayer, while making a whole lot of sense, and banking you some handy magic XP along the way. I think that's extremely cheap. I don't remember it taking very long to get these points. Yeah, bro, I literally got the Mage's Book and Master Wand, and let's check the price of these. So, for example, the Mage's Book, 500, 500, 6,000. If they want to make these 150, 150, like, it's really gonna be quite easy. So, for example, the Mage's Book took 5 hours, so it's gonna be like 1 hour, less than an hour to get a Rune Pouch. Okay, so moon keys. So before you say it, the rates on these are not bugged and have been working as intended. So now we'll say it. What we intended here was absolutely miles off what's reasonable for the combat halves. Skilling halves were not more common than intended on account of shooting stars providing them to players. So we're adjusting the formula here to make the tooth half of moon key considerably more obtainable. So here's what that looks like from some common sources. So the frost crab, the current rate is 1 in 11,000, and it's gonna be, yeah, so basically it's just gonna be a lot easier to get. So keep in mind that Varlamore the Final Dawn will feature more sources of these key halves too, which should have drop rates in line with these adjusted offerings. We're also adding the Helmet of the Moon to the collection log. It's tough to obtain, but it is collectible, and you have every right to flex it to your friends. If you've already got one, then you'll be able to use it on the collection log. Oh god, I'm pretty sure that's going to take a long time for people to get. So Archa spell tweaks, so sending us off are a few tiny tweaks to the rune cost of certain Archa spells. So we reduced the fire rune cost of Demon Bane spells shortly after Yama's release, since it was a tad overbearing on extended trips. We're proposing a few more changes in a similar vein, where some rune costs are outliers in terms of progression. So we're adjusting Dark Demon Bane to cost 1 Soul Rune, 4 Chaos Runes, and 7 Fire Runes. This means you're swapping a Soul Rune for Chaos Runes. These spells shine a little earlier in your journey, or against Yama himself, and we felt that 2 Soul Runes was a bit much for your frequent to use it, right? With which you're casting these spells, especially since they require 90 rune crafting to make. Again, Iron Man, need 90 rune crafting, and you're just like spam clicking them. So yeah, good change. We're also tweaking the rune cost for summoning thralls. Our logic here is simplifying the number of different runes you're required to bring to make the Archa spellbook work. We're proposing that greater resurrection spells should have their 5 blood rune cost adjusted to 4 soul runes. While this feels a little at odds with the move away from high soul rune cost for Dark Demon Bane, our rationale is that you're casting these far less often than repeated Demon Bane spells, and this alleviates some inventory pressure for proper Archaeus usage. Again, though, the 90 rune crafting, I don't know about that one. But with that, you're up to speed. Let us know what you make of this batch of proposals. It's small but mighty. I don't think it's really small. This is a very long video. If all goes smoothly, you'll be able to see them in game later this summer. Wow. So yeah, there's a lot of good changes in here for sure. Slayer is my favorite skill in the game, and just all of these nice quality of life changes to Slayer will be amazing to see in the game, especially the block list changes and having to kind of be able to customize every Slayer master in the game and what you want to block. I'm also a big fan of the new UI kind of for Slayer as well, and a lot of nice early game stuff to get players into Slayer, right? And we're going to be getting refunded quite a bit of points, which is going to be nice. And again, the dragon tasks, you know, being formed into metal dragons, and then yeah, that's just something that should have been done a very long time ago as well. Some of the changes, like the noted herbs and whatever, I'm not the biggest fan of course, but you know, maybe it's not exactly what I'm expecting, and yeah, I don't know. If they're making it easier to say get certain items, then it makes sense overall. But yeah, some pretty good changes overall. Let me know what you guys think of these changes down in the comments below, and which one is your favorite. If you did watch the entire video, comment summer sweep up down in the comments below. Appreciate it as always. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and yeah, I will catch you in the next one. See ya later.